Hey, what's up, guys? It's Gun Thug here, coming to you guys for the first time in a little bit. Actually, I think it's my first recording in over a week or about a week. I don't know. The days just kind of, the summer days just have a tendency to melt together. But regardless, here I am. We're doing another Gen 4 battle here. We got Rigamorty versus Kriger. I told Riga that I would do his battle last week. I believe it was with Telf. But that's I don't want to do a week 3 commentary when we're already well into and almost past week 4 at this point. So I'm going to bring a commentary here with Riga versus Kriger. Probably not as successful a match for Riga, but I think there were some interesting nuances here that would be interesting. That would be fun to comment on. So I just want to say again, much like I think it was the last one I did. Maybe it was Sweet versus Nick. I have not watched this replay since the last time I saw it, which was as it was happening. So, flying by the seat of my pants here. I don't think that was, I don't think it was too rough around the edges when I did Sweet versus Nick. I mean, there weren't too many times where I was just floored by what I was seeing or completely wrong about what I was. I mean, I'm usually wrong about what I'm saying, but at least this time it's understandable because you guys are probably watching this for the second time, much as I am, unless you guys are secretly going back and watching these replays over and over again. So let's go ahead and get into it. I've got the calc pulled up over here in case we need it. I don't know if we do. One thing I do remember from this match, I remember Riga making a huge mistake on the leads that I can't remember if it ends up costing him the match though, but I remember it being a massive mistake. It's something that he would absolutely acknowledge was a mistake, and we're going to go into why it was such a mistake too. So we got Heatran versus Elf lead, and this is always an interesting lead matchup because most lead as Elves carry taunt, right? And so you're stuck with Kriger stuck with a decision here. Does he taunt the Heatran and prevent it from getting rocks up? Or does he go ahead and get rocks up to ensure that he gets a hit off on Heatran and breaks its sash? Now, not every single lead Heatran is sash. I've seen some run Choppleberry, some run Shukaberry, or something along those lines. And those are the Heatrans that you don't necessarily want to sack right off the bat. Those are ones that you want to get rocks up and then use it as a Heatran would usually be used throughout the match. But I think most of the time you're going to see Focus Sash on that lead Heatran. And it's a tough call. Like, if you run Focus Sash in your Heatran, you're basically acknowledging that it's going to get rocks off, probably get hit once, and then maybe get a hit off before it dies. But Heatran is such a good Pokemon in Gen 4 that it's almost the opportunity cost of using it as a suicide lead rather than utilizing it throughout your match can be huge. It's one of the reasons why, and I think I mentioned this in my match last week, you don't see lead Tyranitar, or at least lead suicide Tyranitar all that often, just because using a Pokemon as a suicide lead takes away its ability to be used in other roles throughout the match. Regardless, I believe this is sashed Heatran. I think Riga, you can tell me after the match if I'm right on that one or not. So he's going to go, Azelf's going to go for the taunt, and Riga predicts that pretty correctly. Well done on his part, and he's just going to slap it with a Fire Blast, taking Azelf down to 1% health. Azelf is almost always a suicide lead. You can always pretty much assume that it's got Sash. One of the things I like doing on lead Azelf is switching in Scarf Tyranitar, because the Sandstorm will break the Sash, and then Pursuit or Crunch will render it completely ineffective. There's no reason to taunt a Scarf Tar, and so the Scarf Tar will be unaffected on the switch in, but it's always interesting to see how people use that Tyranitar and Azelf. Azelf is it's a double-edged sword because a lot of times it's going to do exactly what you want it to do as a lead. It's going to prevent rocks from getting up on the other side, and it's going to get rocks up on its own. And you know what? Every once in a while, it's even going to get an explosion off. This time, though, it throws rocks up after the taunt. So presumably Heatran is just all Heatran needs to do is smack this Azelf, get rid of it, and it's still at 100% health, which means its sash is unbroken. It's going to get another hit off on another Pokemon, and it may even lose that taunt early and manage to get its rocks up. But we'll see the major mistake Riga makes right there. I get it. I get that Fire Blast isn't the highest accuracy and you're worried about it missing. But Azelf is Levitate. I mean, there's no reason to try to predict a switch in when you have Focus Sash, because even if he switches in something that absorbs Fire Blast, like his own Heatran or something like that, he would have to hit you twice to kill you. And it's taking away taunt turns. I know, and we'll see that he has hidden power as well, which could have hit it. Maybe you don't want to reveal the hidden power. I think if we were to ask Riga why he did that, he would simply say he forgot Azelf had levitate. Which, I mean, you can't see it right now because I have the static sprites for replays. But with the animated sprites, I mean, it's floating, it's bouncing up and down right here. Like, you know, it's got levitate. You scroll over it, it tells you abilities, levitate. Doesn't have any other abilities. So, you know, huge mistake on his part. Azelf is going to get the chance to explode, taking away 67% of Heatran's health. I mean, it could have taken away 1% of Heatran's health, and it wouldn't have mattered. That would have done its job. There's the hidden power, probably hidden power grass, and here comes Infernape. So let's imagine if Riga hadn't made that mistake and he had used hidden power to take down the Azel from 1% health. He's got a full health Heatran. Kriger's probably forced to bring Infernape in. Infernape's gonna have to close combat to get Heatran down. Probably takes it to 1% health, and then at 2/3 special defense, Heatran's Earth Power one-hit KOs Infernape. And so all of a sudden you have a 1% health in Heatran with 2 of Krieger's Pokemon down. It's just a massive swing in momentum. You know, now we've got both of the suicide leads down, and basically this Infernape is free to do what Infernape does the rest of the match, which is wreak havoc on Riga's team. So, you know, like I said, we'll see what ends up happening with this Infernape. Keep an eye on it. You know, let's see how important it would be if this Infernape was gone, and Kriger would have been forced to reveal a 3rd Pokemon too, because that Heatran wouldn't have been done. So Riga's going to go to Zapdos here, and then out comes Mamoswine. I love Mamoswine in this meta. I actually love Mamoswine in all metas. I don't know if that was the smartest move on Riga's part. You know, maybe he was worried. I mean, it's definitely a mixed, probably a mixed Infernape. If you see that Life Orb tick on Infernape, you can usually presume that it's mixed. Some sort, and, you know, a stab fire move is going to hurt Zapdos, obviously. So maybe it's not going to kill it, but it's going to hurt it. So I get trying to just get rid of the try to get rid of the Infernape. But if you've got Heat Wave on this Zapdos, which I don't remember if he does or not, he had 2/3 special defense, which is the special defense drop from close combat. I mean, that's going to hurt, and it's going to smack any switch into Thunderbolt. I just think most teams have an electric switch in. Most teams have a ground type on their team or something that can soak up Thunderbolt. So that was, you know, not necessarily the strongest move on Riga's part. He's going to get exposed for it. He's going to have to go to Kingdra. You know, Kingdra's going to take a very strong Stone Edge from Mamoswine. Probably Choice Band at this point. So that's going to take away the vast majority of Kingdra's health. Kingdra is now forced to burn his Chesto Berry. You know, I'm guessing probably Dragon Dance Kingdra, which is a really strong threat in this metagame just because it's very difficult to hit it super effectively. The only super effective move against Kingdra is Dragon. So if you can eliminate Dragon types, if you have a good Steel type on your team, like Heatran, you know, you can usually get him set up. But I mean, Kingdra just wasted his entire setup opportunity. I suppose for a chance to be able to switch in again later. You know, Mamo might even outspeed Kingdra. Yeah, Mamo's got, I believe, let's go ahead and check it. I think it's, yeah, base 80 speed. A lot of people run, so it's, I mean, you know, it's a little bit slower than Kingdra, but people usually run Kingdra to a tier where after a Dragon Dance or 2, it outspeeds a certain, you know, Pokemon. So, you know, like this is an adamant Dragon Dance Kingdra running, you know, 269 speed, whereas most of your banded Mamoswine is going to be faster. So he may have even been sacking Kingdra there by going with the rest. I mean, if he wants to Stone Edge again on Mamo, now, you know, it's banded. You know, maybe Kriger was going for more power. So maybe he's going for Adamant. So, you know, and at that point, Kingdra would outspeed. And you don't want to sack Mamoswine there on the off chance Kingdra does outspeed. But, you know, I don't know. He's going to go for the Dragon Dance here. He's going to soak up a Thunderbolt. You know, that's even so, you know, we know how terrible the crit mechanics are here. If he doesn't get crit there, that only does about 41%, which is going to leave him at about 60% health or so, which means he would actually be able to live another Thunderbolt. Instead, he's only able to do about 65% to Zapdos, and he loses his Kingdra. You know, and was it worth it? Like, you lost your Dragon Dance setup Pokemon for the chance to do 65% to Zapdos. Like, I understand your team doesn't appear to have a lot of good Zapdos answers, which is probably why you bring Jirachi in here. But you know, the somewhat favorable crit, I mean, you know, it seemed probably like a bulkier on the physical side Zapdos because he soaked up that +1 outrage so well. So maybe that Psychic kills anyways without the crit. I'm not sure. You know, we got the Calc up. Why not? Let's go Zapdos. Let's just call it a physically defensive one. Let's go to a Jirachi. I'm going to go ahead and throw 252 special attack on this because I just think that's usually what we see. And let's throw Psychic on here. So yeah, it looks like, it's probably going to kill Zapdos, even a fully HP invested Zapdos, which it may not have been. It may have had some special attack investment. So I think that Psychic's going to kill anyways. I don't think that crit necessarily matters. So Krieger's going to go back to Rotom here. And, another crit. Man, this is a crit heavy match, as Cammy is pointing out for us. I think I would have been worried there maybe about the trick. I can't remember if Kriger ends up running a trick or a Scarf Rotom or a Scarf. Well, if the fact that it outspeeds Jirachi means it's more than likely running Scarf. Jirachis don't always run max speed. It sits at 328 speed if it's timid max. It may be, modest or bulkier for like a Calm Mindset or something along those lines. I mean, that's a lot of damage right there. So you gotta watch out for the trick. I don't know if you really want to trick a Jirachi a Choice Scarf when you don't know if it's a setup Jirachi. If you're seeing a Jirachi throwing substitutes and Calm Minds up, then yeah, maybe you want to try to trick it a Scarf or something. Obviously, if it doesn't have a sub up. But I think it's a good call by Kriger. One thing that I've seen people make a mistake with is being a little overzealous with trying to trick away their Scarf on Rotom or other Pokemon that get it. Starmie gets Trick. Gengar gets Trick. Those are the three main ones: Gengar, Starmie, Rotom, that I think I see running Trick more often than not. Maybe even, I think Zelf can run it too. But, people get a little overzealous with them and try to trick right away, trying to catch that special wall on the other side. Sometimes, you really want to utilize that Scarf. You don't know when it's going to come in handy. I've seen a match before, and I've made this mistake where I had a Scarf Gengar that I tricked right away, and I managed to get my Choice Scarf onto a Blissey on the other team, but then it came up later in the match where I had nothing to outspeed a Starmie, and the Starmie just swept right through me. Whereas if I had held on to that Scarf a little longer, Gengar may have been able to take down Blissey. Gengar may have been able to take down that Starmie when I needed it to, and it's just it's the risk reward of when you're running Trick, of when you want to get rid of that Scarf. Know that if you don't have anything else in your team that can serve as that speed check, as your ability to handle fast attackers on the other team, then just be wary of that and just keep in mind. And I think Kriger does a good job here of holding on to that Scarf in case he might need it later. So he's going to stay in. Rigger's going to go to his Lucario here. I think it's a pretty good synergy here between Kingdra and Lucario to an extent. Fire moves are obviously going to give Lucario a lot of trouble, and Kingdra's 4 times weak to fire, 4 times strong against fire. Fire does 0.25 damage against it. So, it reminds me a little bit of Nick's team against me in week 2 when he was rocking Kingdra, Dragonite, and Lucario. Kind of, pick your poison at that point. So we're going to see the vaunted, the dreaded Breloom here. And I don't necessarily know. At this point, I suppose, if you're Riga, you have to think to yourself, okay, so I don't think you bring Breloom in on Lucario unless you have Mach Punch. And I get that a Rotom was out, so maybe he was thinking there was a crunch coming, but more often than not, if Lucario comes in on something that's locked into a move that's not very effective against it, it's going to go ahead and set up. At this point, even if you're Mach Punch, I'm pretty sure a +2 Extreme Speed is going to kill. So let's go ahead and bring that up. Lucario. Have you guys noticed I've been great about pronouncing Lucario this time? And I don't know how much. I don't know how much investment he's running on this. My instinct is always to change the level to 50. I'm so used to calcing from MMO that I forget. So yeah, it looks like a +2 Adamant Extreme Speed Life Orb is going to kill Breloom. So you got to be very careful about bringing your Breloom in against a Lucario. And we're going to see a Bullet Punch, of course. And then we see the Mach take him down. So I get that Bullet Punch is stab on Lucario and that it's going to give you the super effective hit against Tyranitar. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about running Bullet Punch on Lucario. I get it. It's on Smogon. Like, if you go to a Smogon Sword Stance Lucario set, they will tell you the risks and the rewards of running Bullet Punch. But man, when is Extreme Speed is just such a great move, and it has such limited distribution. There's a reason why so few Pokemon learn Extreme Speed, because it's an extremely powerful move. Extremely, yeah, that's good. I'll be here all week. So I think that Riga would obviously like to go back and put Extreme Speed on this Lucario instead of Bullet Punch, because Extreme Speed kills and Bullet Punch does not. And as a result, he's going to lose his second setup sweeper of the match. I mean, so we're like 14 turns into this match, and he's already thrown away 2 of his setup sweepers. Both of these setup sweepers managed to set up, and neither of them managed to even take down a single Pokemon in the process. That's not a winning formula. That's not going to win you very many games. You know, if he extreme speeds there, what's Kriger's switch? I mean, yeah, he's got Scarfed Rotom. I suppose Scarfed Rotom is probably going to be able to take him down there, but you can also lock Scarf Rotom into a move by just switching out, and you've still got a pretty powerful Lucario to bring in at some other point. So, oh boy, you know, Riga probably wants that one back. I think that it's, I mean, obviously, if you're facing a Dragon Dance Tyranitar, you're loving having Bullet Punch on your Lucario because usually Extreme Speed would be relatively ineffective against it. So, I mean, obviously, you're not going to take down a +1 Tyranitar with Extreme Speed. So, I get that it's very, I think it's just too situational. I don't like the choice, and obviously, you know, 2020 hindsight, obviously, it's easy for me to say, well, you shouldn't run Bullet Punch, but, you know, I don't know. I think he wants that one back. So Breloom's going to survive. Zapdos is going to come in here. I believe this is probably a fast, almost all-out attacking Zapdos, so we don't have to... Oh, never mind. So we've got a bulky Zap here, and it's going to be outsped by Breloom. Breloom's a tricky Pokemon. You always got to be wary. I mean, it can hit 262 speed if it's running max speed Jolly, which is no slouch. I mean, that's definitely a good speed tier right there. A lot of people run bulk on their Breloom to survive things like a stray Ice Beam or something from Swampert. And I'm one of those people generally, but it always throws you off a little bit. I mean, you know, bulky Zapdos, if we're going to go to like a physically defensive Zapdos, I mean, they're usually only running enough speed to outspeed Tyranitar. So, you know, probably Riga was expecting a slower Breloom there. He got hit with the Spore, and this is not looking good for you. You never want Breloom dictating the terms of your match here, especially when you've got one of your Pokemon slept. So, I'm not 100% sure why Jirachi didn't come in there. Jirachi's almost always going to outspeed Breloom. Well, it's because it's going to go down to a Mach Punch. So, you know, Kriger's pretty much just going to sweep up at this point. Riga's got his own Breloom. Yeah, I think he can probably drop a Spore. He probably could have dropped a Spore on him there. I think you, at this point, if you're Kriger, you probably know that you're faster than Riga's Breloom. But he's going to pretty much let him back into this match, which is very interesting. Mach doesn't always take down Breloom's sub either, so Riga's going to at least pull off one more kill here. It doesn't appear as if that Infernape living the Heatran would have mattered all that much. I think what ended up deciding this match was more, you know, Riga's just misuse of his 2 sweepers, Lucario and Kingdra. I mean, the odds of you not being able to take down a Pokemon with one of these 2, you know, if this is, I don't think it's a Mach Punch. I think at this point it's running Seed Bomb, Focus Punch, and even if it was Mach, Mamoswine outspeeds and 1-hit KOs with Choice Band Ice Shard. So it's funny that Infernape actually did not end up coming back to matter. What we ended up having here was just Kriger outplayed him. You know, I think Riga would like to have that extreme speed back because, I mean, look at Breloom. So look what Breloom ends up doing on Kriger's team. I mean, he proceeds after taking down the +2 Lucario, he proceeds to take down Zapdos, he proceeds to take down Jirachi, and then put a dent into his own Breloom. I mean, if we have an extreme speed on this Lucario, not only does Breloom go down, but you've got a +2 Lucario against 3 of Kriger's teammates. You still have Breloom unshown at that point. You still have your Zapdos, you still have your Jirachi. It could have been a completely different match if it weren't for that one move. So if I had to pinpoint one problem with Riga's match, I would say simply it's running Bullet Punch on his Lucario. But, you know, it is what it is. Riga's been strong this year. He'll come back stronger. Kriger has really come out of nowhere and played pretty well in DPP. So it's going to be exciting to watch these guys going forward. You know, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I expect to get another one out maybe later today. I want to do Sweet's match this week. Sweet and Spaintacular had a very, very solid match it should be a lot of fun to commentate on. So anyways, that was my commentary. Stay tuned for more coming up later, and I will see you guys next time.